I'm excited about it. All right, I heard that soldiers deck looked pretty good in the quarters, so we decided, well, why not we just do soldiers again? So, Johnkkez on soldiers, this is the tradition flavor though, versus Ambivalent Thoughts on Valkyries. So, we thought it was nice last time, let's run it back again. Your top four, your semifinals, Johnkkez versus Ambivalent Thoughts. Alrighty, welcome everyone to the semifinals. We've got Ambivalent Thoughts versus Johnkkez. I think this is a mole for Johnkkez.
Yeah,
Yes.
doesn't look great. Has my favorite card, but you kind of want a curve before playing that one. Uh, this hand's definitely better. Still not ideal in terms of curve, but the I don't even know what the new pump spell is called. Gavel's Insight is quite good against these Valkyrie decks because you can kill the Relic Weapon, you can kill the Watchwing supports, but you still need to make sure you have units that are big enough to tussle, but even just being a trick as well. It's just incidental that you also get to kill relics. And keep in mind, Gavel's Insight is a fast spell. So what you can do is you can let them attack with their Relic Weapon, and then you can use Gavel's Insight to kill the Relic Weapon in response, and then they can't attack with a different Relic Weapon even if they attach another one in the same turn. Oh, they both have it! Everything's happening. So excited.
Card of the night right here. Iron Maiden gonna hit the bar. Hit the board first. Let's get a 2-2 out there. No units for Ambivalent Thoughts on turn 3. Johnkkez is going to attack in, get their value. So now Ambivalent Thoughts, if I remember correctly, this build of that Ambivalent Thoughts is running is this is the one that's a little bit higher curve. It's a little bit less reliant on the Valkyrie Warp. Is that correct?
Yep. So this one has more innate power, I guess I would put it. So it's playing the Hellfire Valkyrie. This one's even playing the Sangir, Sanguine Reaper.
That card's sweet. We haven't seen enough of that tonight.
Yeah, so just trying to curve in a very traditional way instead of loading up onto like Wii String Games has been playing. So pretty interesting structure, and we get to see kind of the differences. So differences between the Soldiers decks, difference between these Valkyrie Warp Ambition decks. So Johnkkez putting a little bit of emphasis on this site and using the Overwhelm ability to get through. So the Gavel's Insight having a lot of different modes, or a lot of utility to it, but utilizing the Overwhelm there. And this Terius just being a 5/5 with Valor is actually pretty difficult to answer if you don't have heavy artillery.
Yeah, the other weapons don't really hit it very well. They're a little small for a 5/5.
Right. So, so choosing to actually be able to just put on a huge clock here, saying, hey, if I get one activation on this research lab, I'm pretty sure you can't deal with the 10/10, barring like, a Manacles after popping this Aegis, or maybe getting a deadly quick draw or just deadly like weapon with a Deathwing, but barring like large variants, I think it's a pretty large chance that I'm able to just make this a 10/10 and then you can't do anything.
Yeah, and you're seeing that with the Manacles here, using the two. I like that. Playing out the Molten Wing, then use the ability from the Molten Wing off that weapon to break the Aegis so that you can Manacles next turn or even something else, but it opens that option up for you. But this is a big hit. It's 10/10.
Yeah, so I think with knowing that your opponent chose to stop the Aegis instead of shooting you, because if it's a racing situation, you would like follow up with another blocker and stuff like that. You can kind of know that your opponent has the Manacles in hand because there's no other real card that would cause them to pop the Aegis like that. Or maybe they're just drawing to it, but like you can just be in a racing situation. So
Oh, look at this. They warped the heavy artillery, and they're going to do 5 to the face. The Overwhelm's going to hit, and that's just going to be lethal. Oh my goodness.
yeah, so the research lab taking up 2 turns, ending up costing Johnkkez there, but there's some variance associated with it. It's really hard to say in the moment, but ultimately the way the cards ended up playing out, Ambi was able to take that game.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. Ambivalent Thoughts, nice job there, setting themselves up. You mentioned it a couple times though early on, racing situation, and we saw it there. Ambivalent Thoughts recognizing what the game plan was, sticking with it, and worked out well there. Notably, so
Yeah,
one nice stat from the background: Ambivalent Thoughts not has not won a trophy yet, but has the most wins of the season of any player. With 34 going into tonight, and then of course getting here is going to bump that up. What do they have? 4 plus 5 wins right now, so they're at 39 wins on the season. So most wins of any player all season long. Well done, Ambivalent Thoughts for that, and keeping it going here.
wow, just like that shows a great deal of consistency. Maybe things not breaking their way. Maybe getting a little bit of nerves at the end. Who knows? But that's a stat that I would, tell all my friends and stuff. I think that's super awesome.
Yeah, well played by them for sure. Apple Chips not far behind. Apple Chips with 37 wins, so 39 for Ambivalent Thoughts. Apple Chips with 37. But both players, that's a lot more than most people. Let's put it that way.
Okay, I get it now. I need to change my username to awatchwolf92.
You do, because Apple Chips, and then between Apple Chips and Ambivalent Thoughts is a Romanova with 34 wins. So there you
Right.
go.
I get it. I get it. I'll file it with Direwolf later. Oh my god, the 14 card opening hand. I don't even know if Johnkkez can keep up. They only have 6. But yeah, so Johnkkez unfortunately mulliganed down to 6, not desirable, but this was kind of just their best hand. Has a curve if they're able to draw another power next turn, so just gotta roll with it sometimes. But Envy's hand is quite good, except for the depleted power on the draw.
All right, there. Yeah, it's quite good. Here comes the Dara Lee there. 2 copies of Passion Stonehammer, Deathwing, Watchwing support, the WW. 3 copies of Passion Stonehammer. I'm sorry. I said 2, but here's 3. Actually, down to 2. Gonna turn 1 into a fire residual. Ambivalent Thoughts heard me and said, all right, we'll go with 2. We'll go with 2. Proactive Permafrost here for Johnkkez. Gonna knock out that Stonehammer and attack in for 4.
So that's a pretty interesting play. So you can choose to use the Daru Lee to deal 1 extra point, but then you're not able to leave up this Argos technique. So then if your opponent plays, say, like Silver Slicer and chooses to kill the Iron Priestess, you're able to pump it. So, choosing to leave up that option. Also, maybe being able to Argos technique. No, it wouldn't be able to counter anything. So just valuing the optionality more than 1 damage. So that's pretty interesting.
Vicious Overgrowth taking out the Molten Wing there. I'm a little worried though. Johnkkez a little bit behind on cards. I like the proactive use of these removal spells, but you can't really do that. You can't afford to do that every turn. You're gonna run out of cards, and Ambivalent Thoughts is gonna double spell like they did here, or just play bigger, powerful things. It's gonna be tough to keep that pressure up.
So here we're deciding to just allow our Argos technique to trade with the Deathwing, and then just playing the Dovid and hope that that's big enough, which might be able to be big enough. And maybe you can find those amplify powers.
Well, there you go. There's a time sketch. Amplify power. The Sage speaks again, getting that amplify power off of the Janitor.
Our games are way easier when you can predict the future.
I guess the the Janitor paints in his spare time. It's like a Goodwill Hunting type thing. It's got some stuff on the side here. But David's going to go down after that, and here comes the trash for Ambivalent Thoughts. Going to get a pair of 2/1s, which aren't usually super relevant, but they might end up being relevant here. I mean, blockers, units that are going to be alive next turn, relevant when Johnkkez is trying to attack on the ground.
So this one's kind of interesting. So choosing to play this instead of the bear. So this one has Aegis, so that can, maybe deter certain things. But if your bear, if the Valise is really the prize, then you want the Valise triggers on other things, and then you can. But you're not being as power efficient. Another thing that I thought was interesting was choosing to play out the power that turn instead of saving it for the discard draw ability of the Valise, but ultimately would have played the power anyways. That's fine. Getting in some good damage here, and we'll see if this is going to be enough to go over the finish line.
Yeah, it might be that overwhelm on Valise is pretty strong. Put ambivalent thoughts all the way down to 5. Unit's gonna have overwhelm, but how about a warped heavier artillery? That might change things a little bit. Although you gotta be a little careful. Oh, the molten wing though helps a lot. I was gonna
Right.
say it's tough to attack a 4/4 with that, but yeah, the molten wing is gonna take that out. Ambivalent thoughts gonna stabilize here at 3 health.
Yeah, so one thing that's a common problem for soldiers is they don't have much reach. So your best shot is probably Argo, but
Yeah,
I don't think the tradition soldiers plays Argo because it's playing way more factions. So let's see. Can you play Crafter? You can get Manacles, which can help a little, but now because of the janitor, like
wide.
the
Yeah,
board is too wide.
yeah.
Um, you can try to get your one Justice sketch, but then that's sketchy at best.
You can
Um,
you can hope there's a flying window in Darley Amplify, right? Or Darley and then yeah, Darley Amplify. Turn something into a
oh,
5/5.
yeah. For a while, play Grafter into the Market Argo was good, but where we're at now with the Deathwing doesn't seem to be great for Johnkkez.
Yeah, it's tough. Johnkkez is going to attack through. These do have overwhelm. Going to put ambivalent thoughts down to 3, but unfortunately for Johnkkez, ambivalent thoughts now has this Deathwing, doing a lot of work, but at the very least being a 5 attack lifesteal flyer. Let's put a rail driver on it. Make it an 8 lifesteal plus deal some damage to one of the units.
Fake Matt says it's not lethal, so might as well kill something.
Knock that down. Let's go ahead and gain 8 for our trouble. And that right there should put the game out of reach for Johnkkez.
Yeah, the soldiers deck not having much reach, need to establish a board state, Argo being the market, but good Rumba Johnkkez showing off, as Magikarp is too, just like soldiers is still alive and kicking.
Yep.
Maybe there's still room to be explored, the tandem mechanic being very useful for these decks, but the power, like I don't even think any Valkyrie warps happened that. No, the heavies were. Yeah. So some Valkyrie warp actions going on, but ultimately just some mulligans by Johnkkez not being able to like provide enough pressure. Getting your opponent to 3